Hello, Internet. I wanted to say hi. No, yeah, sure. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna say. That's okay. If you are feeling stuck and you are feeling dull and like your life is dull every day and you feel numb and maybe you have dreams or ideas of dreams that you've had that still linger somewhere as part of you, and there's a bit of frustration that you're not really doing anything to pursue or engage with those dreams that maybe you once had, or those thoughts of a life that you wish you had currently because your life doesn't look like how you had imagined or hoped for it to look. I wanted to share what has been helpful for me recently that I have discovered. Over the past while, I have experienced, again, difficult feelings, or lack thereof, lack of feelings, or challenging feelings in combination with experiencing overwhelm and overall not doing very well. And I think that obviously the way that I look right now, or the way that I'm presenting myself, I look fine. I'm wearing yellow, which is a bright color, and that I associate with like feelings of lightness and brightness. And I do feel okay, but I have not somewhat consistently over the past while. But I wanted to share things that have helped me experience peace and joy at times, even if I still struggle. So I have found that being in the same environment every day, or staying in one's room, for example, every day, all the time, in the same environment and feeling the same things, there is a connection between the space that we are in, the environment that we are in, and how we feel. I mean, I think that's kind of like an obvious thing. And I say that because I have observed and recognized that I have been able to access different feelings, feelings of peace or joy or gratitude. Peace and joy and gratitude by allowing myself to be in different spaces. Recently, I decided to go out and sit in the grass by myself at a nearby park. I enjoy sitting in the grass, and I do enjoy being outside. Maybe with some snacks. Definitely with some snacks. I decided that I wanted to go sit outside in the grass. So I did at one point acquire a beach towel type of thing so that I could go outside and sit in the grass. And I saw that there was a field space nearby, and I went there with some snacks. There were not many people around, and I brought my journal. And I sat there and I just journaled on my own. I observed the quiet, and I observed myself, and I observed what was around me. Trees existing, the grass existing, the sky, the birds, all things that exist even when I am not observing them, that exist in this world. And I felt a kind of gratitude that I can be here with these other things, sharing this space with the trees and the little flowers and even the bugs. And I did not feel the overwhelm that I have felt when sitting, existing by myself in my room. I was so present for the duration that I was there, which was a couple of hours. I stayed because it just felt so nice, and it felt like time was slower, or I was experiencing time more slowly. And I loved that because recently days have felt like they've passed by very quickly, and that also makes me feel a bit anxious. So if you do the same things every day, if you are in the same spaces every day, and you feel like life is dull, I'm not saying that going outside or doing new things would be the answer to totally, completely change one's life, but I have found that it can be a way, for myself at least, to access feelings of peace and of joy and of gratitude, and to experience for at least a little bit an absence of overwhelm and anxiety and stress, and also numbness and absence of that dull feeling as well. I would like to share some things that I have experienced to be helpful to appreciate being alive and to feel peace and also be able to access a sense of being in awe of life. Go outside. I hear my teenage self from several years ago rolling her eyes when I say go outside, like just go outside, because that sounds, I feel like these things that I am saying or will say sound boring as I say them, but they have had a positive effect on me. So I'm gonna just say them. Going outside, somewhere new, somewhere maybe that you don't usually go to, some grassy area, if there is a park nearby, if you have the ability to or the access to safely access a space like that, get a towel or something or blanket and go and sit there. Maybe bring some snacks, bring a journal, some pieces of paper to draw or write, anything at least that is not your phone, because I feel like looking at a screen, well, now you're just in that world and not in whatever space you're actually in. Or, don't bring anything and just sit there and exist. Go to a coffee shop. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to go to a coffee shop, sit there, and also either journaling or reading is another lovely option that I enjoy. Although I know it can be stressful, or at least in my experience, sometimes to decide to go to a coffee shop and to sit there, because I have experienced the stress of, okay, I'm gonna go to this coffee shop place and I want to sit there and just like spend a little bit of time there and get, a beverage while I am there and find a place to sit. But then I think before I go there, what if I go there and then all of the seats are taken and then I walk inside and I see that it's very busy and all the seats are taken, but I am already standing there looking at the menu, but it's already very busy inside and I don't know, it looks like I won't have anywhere to sit. So then I think, oh, maybe I should just leave. What if that happens? But then I'll feel awkward if I just go in there and stand and look around and then just leave. So then I get a little bit stressed out about the idea of going and walking into a coffee shop to do that. So before I do that, sometimes I'll have a plan in my head of, okay, if I go there, if I get there and I see that all the seats are taken or there's not a seat that I would feel comfortable sitting in, if I walk in there, I might pre-decide if I will get a beverage to go and then take it somewhere else with me or take it on a walk, or if I will, and there's nothing wrong with this, walk inside, see that it's busy, and then decide to leave. And I will kind of make that decision in advance so that I don't feel as stressed about walking in there. If that makes any sense. It makes sense to me because that's how it feels. Anyway, it feels different being in a different space. Go to the library. It is quiet and there are just so many books, which can be overwhelming. But if you know any books that you would like to read, and then you can, look up your local library, if you have one, how to get a library card. There are usually instructions on how to get a library card, and then you can go to the library and get your library card. And you can also, maybe there's books that you have thought of that you want to read, or if you haven't, you can always, search online for types of books that you may be interested in reading if that's something that you think you might like to do. I know a lot of folks go there to study as well, so you can also just go there and bring a journal or something and write, or if you are going to use your laptop, your computer, bring it somewhere else, and like the library or a coffee shop, and use it there. And it will also, for me, can also feel different to do that in a different space. Go for a walk somewhere, take a route that you don't usually take to get somewhere. Ideally that will be a route that is safe to take. If you are going to work or somewhere else, walk a different path, take a different route. It feels different to take a different path somewhere and be surrounded by different things. I believe I've heard somewhere that when you have new experiences, it feels like time is going more slowly because your brain is taking in new information. I think that is some sort of fact. I have found that to be true. So I think in part that's why in the past, like growing up, time, it felt so much more slow than it does now. And the days seem like they're going by more quickly now, because if every day is very similar or you're spending time in like the same place all the time, then everything just kind of feels like it's just going by kind of on autopilot. So taking in new information via the spaces that we're in, I have found to be helpful. Go to the gym, which sounds like a very scary thing for some folks, and it may be justifiably uncomfortable. I have mentioned this in a video that I titled Victim Mentality at some point. If you have access to a gym that you can go to, going there, and for me, just running on the treadmill, and I don't want to say just because I think that's also a major accomplishment in a way, at least for myself, because I hadn't associated myself with going to the gym and exercising, whatever. But going there, going on the treadmill, listening to music, I feel like that has brought out a different part of me that exists in that moment when I am there. It allows me to feel alive, which is amazing. Do a different activity than you would usually do, or do a particular activity that you know helps you to feel alive, hopeful, motivated, something. There are activities that one can do, I have found for myself, that help to feel better, that help to feel alive and grateful, motivated, present. For me, I have noticed that when I feel dull or numb or hopeless in some way, when I listen to music, when I put on headphones, earphones, play particular songs that I enjoy, that I connect with, just hearing that completely changes how I feel. I will all of a sudden feel somehow motivated and inspired, energized, hopeful. I think music is powerful. I have found it to be so for myself. And I won't necessarily always feel like listening to music, but when I do, if I just make the choice to do so, immediately it just does something to my brain and to me, and I feel differently. So, music. Dancing. If you like to dance, just moving around. I'm remembering that I had shared a video of myself speaking about when you're in a dark place and to just not do anything and to just, what did I say? Wait, to just wait. And I meant that in a particular way, as in don't do anything drastic that would be harmful to yourself or others in that moment. Don't follow an impulse to do something harmful. That's more so what I meant. Allow that feeling to go through you. Something like that, that's what I meant. But of course, we may need to take action before actually being able to feel or experience a change. So these are examples of things that one might be able to do to feel differently. Dancing, moving around, the way that we are physically, how we move, that is how we feel. That affects how we are experiencing life psychologically. So even just moving around, dancing, listening to music, perhaps at the same time, I have found that to be helpful for myself. Paint something. Just get some paint and a surface, paper, canvas, something, cardboard, the cardboard box of cereal, instead of just putting it in the recycle bin, deconstruct the cardboard and then get some paint from somewhere and some brushes and just paint. Have a concert by yourself where you're singing by yourself. Singing is another one. Sing. The voice, using one's voice. I know that there are folks out there who are trained in how using the voice can help us to move through various emotions and states that we are in, and how it can be helpful. Just using our voice, speaking, singing, making sounds. Singing can be healing. I have found it to be a healing, or I don't know. Yeah, sure. Something that makes me feel good and alive and allows me to connect with whatever it is that I'm experiencing and feeling in that moment. You can just start singing about your feelings when you're feeling things. Pretend that your life is a musical, even if you're by yourself. When I was a child, I thought that life was a musical because I had watched a movie that was also a musical, and I thought that that movie reflected real life, and this was when I was a child, and so I thought that sometimes people just burst out into song in real life, and then one day, I just eventually discovered that people don't just randomly burst into song, usually, to express their feelings to other people. But that's what I thought was normal. So yeah, even if you're just by yourself doing things, use your voice and talk to yourself, sing to yourself, sing about the things that you're doing. Maybe Express your feelings, maybe. Playing an instrument, play an instrument. If you have an instrument, if you have access to an instrument, if you're interested in playing an instrument, play an instrument. Play an instrument and sing. That's something that I enjoy, I have found. And that's something that helps me to express and feel alive. Playing an instrument, even if you're not good at it, or even if it's some skill that you're learning. Learning a new skill in general. Taking the time to learn something new. Study, if you like studying a language, take a class. Sign up for a workshop. Take a class. Take an improv class, for example, which sounds absolutely terrifying to a lot of people, I am sure, but improv, for example, can be helpful, I know, for a lot of folks who struggle with talking to people or socializing or talking and being with people. It can be a challenging thing to do and maybe not helpful for everyone, but it can be a fun experience to do improv. Being in a place where you can feel welcome to just play and be silly together with other people. I have also learned that there are a lot of folks out there who struggle to talk to other people, to socialize. We are everywhere. And I have learned that through the comment section of the videos that I have shared so far. There are a lot of us out there who struggle and have struggled with talking to people, making connections with other people, and socializing. This is different for everyone, and it will be more difficult for some folks than for others for various reasons. But there are a lot of good, kind people out there who would be understanding and welcoming. I wanted to just mention that as well. Go somewhere new, try something new, do something, be in a different space. Disconnect from the devices that we may be so hooked onto, the phone, the computer, games, whatever it is. Look up, look out at the world that we're in, which can be scary, but also beautiful and amazing. We are here only briefly, and there is so much that we can experience. So I wanted to say, if anybody sees this, again, hello, that there is hope still, because you are still here, because we are still here. There is hope to experience new, wonderful things, to experience peace and joy, even if it's only for a moment, even if it's only briefly. I think some of the examples that I'm giving are sort of artistic type of examples, and that's just because that's things that I like. I'm just sharing what works for me, and then if anybody relates or it's helpful to anybody, if there's anybody out there who relates to me in any way like that, then I hope it can be helpful. And if not, then I don't know. I share these things just in case it could be helpful for someone. And I think about myself, I think about my past self seeing these things, or my future self, if she ever needs to hear these things, these reminders, these ideas. There are things that we can do to access peace and joy in the present. It's not a cure for example, depression or anything similar to that. One may need to access other resources in order to be helped, in order to be and to feel okay in the long run. Life is complicated. Each of our individual experiences are complex, and we may need other things, medication, therapy, for example. But these are things that I have found to be helpful in moments, on some days where I just want to be okay that day, in that moment, when I need reminders of feeling alive and hopeful and grateful. Still don't know what I'm gonna say. That's okay. This is not a song. Oh my gosh, there was a bird that just flew by. Isn't that great?